Yeah. It's that time. It's that time. Marcus, they must not know. It's that time, man. We made it safe and sound.
We made it, man.
We made it to the big day. Oh my God. Every week is gonna be a movie, but this one.
Man.
This one feels different, brother. This one feels different. We back. You guys are locked in to a very, very, very electric Eagles pregame show. This is something that Marcus and I are going to try to put together for you guys on a week-to-week basis. This is going to be my partner in crime. This is going to be, you know what's so funny? I consider this is my Iron Man to my Captain America. You feel what I'm saying? Like this, you know what I mean? One week he may be the leader, another week I may be the leader. It all depends on the enemy. You know what I mean? It all depends on who we going up against. But regardless, man, two alpha minds, two alpha personalities here.
I'll be the new Captain America because I got the wings. You know?
I like it, man. I like it. Y'all, this is gonna be a fun show. Me and my man Marcus, we're gonna try to deliver you guys these weekly pregame shows. We're going to give them to you guys the day of the game. We're going to try to give them to you guys well enough in advance before the game so you can really digest it and lock in. We're so grateful to you guys, people who support Pro Fan Talk, people who support Chalk It Up Sports. We need to come together like a hive mind, baby. We need to come together like Voltron, right? One hand wash the other. We got to take care of each other. I'm so happy to be here, my man, Coach Marcus. His insight, his perspective is always appreciated. He's played the game before at the highest level. He knows the grind. He knows what it takes. He understands game planning. He understands how these teams and how these players think. Marcus, first and foremost, my friend, how are you feeling? I heard the NFL took care of you today. They had your back today.
Yeah, I went to Philadelphia this morning and for my NFL health screening. So we got scanned and drew blood and EKGs and echocardiograms and heart scans and all of that kind of stuff, man. So everything checked out so far. Still got to go to my regular doctor, and all the fellas out there, if you listening, go to the doctor, get checked out, get your prostates, get your colons, all of the stuff that we be hard-headed about. Go ahead and handle your business because we valuable. You know what I'm saying? The fellas, the dads, the uncles, we valuable. So handle your business, take care of what you're supposed to take care of so we can get through this NFL season together.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's funny. My dad just went through a whole process where he went through a stress test. They had him running on the treadmill, had him all hooked up, just trying to check where his, I guess where his heart is and just the breathe and the lungs, all that kind of stuff. And it was like, listen, man, you're healthy, but you could be better, OG. You could be better.
I'm in that category. Blood pressure was a little high. But I think that was just driving in Philadelphia. I ain't drove in the city in a long time.
It'll do that to you.
I don't miss that commute. I ain't gonna lie.
I ain't been. It's been a full year. It's been a full year since I've been in Texas. And I gotta be honest. I don't think I missed that Philly traffic. I don't think I missed that Philly hustle and bustle at all.
Nah, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. But let's get down to business, man. It's game day, man. We are here. We are here.
Yeah, we're here, man. A lot to get into. I like to break down. We're going to be here for about an hour with you guys, about an hour, maybe an hour, 5 hour, 10, depending on how the energy goes. But we're going to give you guys a solid hour for sure of perspective, analysis. We're going to set you up right for this Philadelphia Eagles matchup against the Green Bay Packers, a team that's ascending and fastly so, right, Marcus? I mean, we know everything about the Eagles, right? But as far as the Packers go, they're pretty talented on both sides of the ball. Their offense had a better season in 2023 than their defense did. But I think it's fair to say that team as a whole is ascending. Give me your perspective on the Green Bay Packers at face value. And then as the show goes, we'll begin to peel the layers back.
Everybody's still living off the high of what Jordan Love did last season. Rightfully so. He paid dividends. They got the right people in place for him. Very much so like Jalen Hurts when he got that first year with Frank Reich, and more so that second year with Frank Reich. So now this is Jordan Love's second year. So everything should be coming into place, and the kid can play some ball. So it's not a layup like it used to be. Some things have changed. They got some good pieces to the puzzle. And we'll see what we're going to see tonight. It's really going to put the pressure or we'll see if there's pressure on our defense because they got some pieces over there on offense. Now, I think their offensive line might be a little bit, might be a question mark there as to how good they are. I know they got a decent offensive line, but as to how good they are, we will see that. But to be able to see that, that will determine how good our defensive line is. So it's a yin and a yang, and it's a push and a pull for what's going to happen tonight because nobody knows. We haven't seen anything. Everything's been vanilla, and now they're going to throw all the seasoning in the mix, and we're going to see what it tastes like tonight. So I'm excited to finally get out of this generic phase, and now we're going to see the blitzes. Now we're going to see the stunts. Now we're going to see the twists, the hidden coverages, all of that type of stuff. Now it comes into play. So all of that talk I did about I don't really pay attention to the preseason because you don't see much. This is why, because now we're going to see what's what.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. And, as far as the offensive line goes, right, it is their offensive line is a little different this year, kind of how the Philadelphia Eagles is. They still got their center. They still got their left guard, still got their right tackle, right? But their left tackle, Rasheed Walker, he did start 15 games last year, but that was out of necessity due to an injured David Bakhtiari. Then David Bakhtiari ultimately just ended up retiring, and now Rasheed Walker is the full-time starter. So we'll see how he fares being the guy at left tackle. And then they have a new guy at right guard. They lost out on their guy, John Runyan, who went to the Giants. I think John Runyan signed a 3-year, $30 million contract with the Giants. So they lost somebody at right guard, and their center is pretty mediocre, average at best. He gave up 5 sacks last year, him alone. It's interesting, right? Their offensive line is a bit unique in this respect. As a group, how they operate in that scheme and how Jordan Love is so adept at getting out of the pocket and making things happen and being elusive. The scheme, along with Jordan Love's God-given abilities, kind of make that offensive line look a lot better than what they really are, because individually, when they're graded individually, they're not really the highest grade offensive lineman by any stretch of the imagination, but they operate in this scheme very well, and Jordan Love is very capable of bailing them out of some tough situations. So give me your deeper perspective on that offensive line. Anything that I said to you that may have stood out, anything you may disagree or agree with?
No, that's a good assessment because usually it's your offensive line that can get the quarterback out of trouble. This is vice versa. Because Jordan Love, this is going to be the year of all of these quarterbacks moving, getting out of the pocket, using their legs. Josh Allen, Jordan Love. Last night you saw both of them, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, make things happen with their legs and not necessarily running. Buying time, getting out of the pocket, letting things develop a little bit. And as you always know, whenever the quarterback moves out of the pocket, Jordan Love is like this and Jalen Hurts is like this. And again, you saw this last night with Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. When they get out of the pocket and they get the running, you never know what those receivers are going to do. So it is ultimately a lot more difficult for the DBs to keep coverage on the DBs when you scrambling. So that's what Jordan Love can do. Plus, he's a tall guy. He's fast. He can create space. He can rifle that ball in there. And he's not looking to run all the time.
Right.
He's looking to complete the pass and move the chains. So he can get the offensive lineman whatever deficiencies they might have. He can save a little, save some face like that a little bit, getting out of the pocket and making some things happen. But eventually, that kind of stuff usually catches up with you. So you can only do that so many times, and then people start game planning it. And then it always comes back to the fundamentals. Do you have a good offensive line to do what you need to do to hold everybody back from that 3 to 5 seconds so you can get your reads and deliver the ball on time? That's going to be the biggest key. We talked about the last time we talked about how Nolan Smith gets not sacks, but pressures. So now you got a quarterback in Jordan Love. When he gets the pressure, he can get out of that pocket and be fast enough to avoid the sack, or, buy himself some more time and throw it downfield as opposed to running for his life or just throwing it out of bounds. So it'll be interesting to see how that balance is based on the performance of what you're getting out of that offensive line. So I know, to your point, Josh Myers is okay. I'm sitting there, finally got my roster up. they're okay. But again, everybody's in the blocks. Whatever happened last year, everything is wiped off the table. Doesn't mean
absolutely
anything. Everything is brand spanking new. So we'll see what Jalen Carter's going to do with him. I'm going to pick Jalen Carter to win that battle. Then now you looking into Jalen Carter is somebody that everybody knows they might have to game plan. So are we going to get double teams? If we get double teams, is that going to free somebody else up? So the chess match is about to begin, and it always starts when you have players that you have to game plan. You got Jalen Carter. Who else is on that defensive line? Are they worried about? Are they worried about Josh Sweat? I don't know. Are they worried about? They don't even know who Jalen Hunt is. They don't know who Bryce Huff is yet. So we still got some question marks to the point where nobody's worried about him yet. So we'll see. We're going to see what our guys are going to do against their offensive line. Are we going to get pushback off the snap, or are they going to be moving us backwards and going forward? That's the big thing. That little 2-yard, demilitarized zone right at the line of scrimmage. If your offense is starting off well, that means the offensive line is getting good push. That means at the snap of the ball, the defensive line is going backwards. Or the defensive line is getting the best, and they're getting into the backfield and putting pressure on the quarterback, taking away sight lines, taking away passing lanes, things of that nature. So it really depends on your offense and your defensive line, who is establishing that line of scrimmage. And I'm one of the guys that I'm looking at explicitly tonight is Cam Jurgens. You are in the middle. You are the quarterback of that offense. Nothing happens. Jalen Hurts can't be Jalen Hurts if Cam Jurgens doesn't do his job. That's where it starts. He's the keystone. So I'm going to be watching him a lot tonight to see how he handles himself.
Man, you definitely gave us a lot. You gave us a lot to really break down. Before we get into the the meat of that, right? Before we get into the depths of that, I definitely want to address the injury reports with you. Eagles on the Eagles side, Devin White out with the ankle injury. Isaiah Rodgers out with a hand injury. And on the Packers side, no one's out, but they have 3 players questionable. 2 running backs, Marshawn Lloyd with a hamstring and Emmanuel Wilson with the hip. They're both questionable, but what I'm hearing, what I read, Marshawn Lloyd should be a go. Emmanuel Wilson is the one that's more of a question, but he's a 3rd string guy. And then Tucker Kraft, their second tight end. He's questionable with the back. Now, he's another guy they said that should be good to go, all things considered. So just doubling back to the Eagles side of things, the Devin White angle, the Isaiah Rodgers angle. Man, oh man. Let's start with the bigger elephant in the room. Devin White out, Nakobe Dean in. Yeah. When that news came across the wire, give me your initial thought, and then give me the thought you had after you were able to sit with it for a while.
My first reaction was really, like, we can't even get to the first game without a major injury happening. And the more I thought about it, then the thing that was questionable was everybody started talking about Nakobe Dean was the starter anyways. He had a better camp. And I was like, I agree. And you already know how I feel about Nakobe. That's my dude.
Right.
But I never heard anything about him usurping Devin White in camp. I heard he was having a good camp. He started off slow and got a lot better. But I never heard anything disparaging against Devin White or saying that Nakobe Dean was taking his spot. I know they were both start going with the ones for a time. Then it was flip-flopping, but Devin White was always with the ones. Nakobe was flip-flopping with Zach Bond. So that was curious. And then the other thing that makes me arch the eyebrow is, why is Isaiah Rodgers on the trip, but Devin White not? Why did he not even make the trip? So that was a little interesting. It's happened before, but the series of events just strikes me as odd. Now, I don't know. I've been hearing the rumors that maybe he's got trade bait, or maybe Howie's got something cooking. I don't know. But all of this talk literally just started when we found out that Devin White was not making a trip. So
Right.
I don't put so much into that, but it's a huge question mark for me because I'm like, what's going on and where did this come from? I didn't hear he got hurt. I didn't hear he tweaked anything, nothing like that. And all of a sudden, it's bam. Your starting linebacker is not even making the trip. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
So,
it was strange for sure. I definitely agree with you. When it came across, I said to myself, like, you really already what happened? I didn't hear about him getting banged up, and we always hear something about, oh, this happened at practice. They're checking him out to see if it's long term, whatever it may be. We just heard, oh, he's out. And we're like, oh, okay, maybe it happened during the week leading up to the game. The media don't really have access to that.
right.
So maybe that's when it happened. But then they took it a step further saying, oh, yeah, not only is he out, Nakobe Dean was penciled in to be the starter anyway. And I'm
Yeah.
like, since when?
Since when?
Because every depth chart I looked at had Devin White ahead of him, and we didn't really hear anything about Devin White in a negative sense too much. That we heard more negative about Nakobe Dean in the offseason than we did Devin White.
Right.
You know what I mean? Granted, we didn't hear anything exceptional about Devin White either. And it threw me for a loop for a little bit. But at the same time, just looking on the silver lining side of things, I said to myself, this is a prime opportunity for Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
This is a prime opportunity for him to go out there and earn a job. And what I mean is, if he plays well, how do you go back to Devin White if that's even an option? How do you go back to him if he goes out there and plays well?
Because it honestly, it really depends on how Zach Bond plays. That's what it comes down to. Because you still is Zach Bond. Does that mean Zach Bond is better than Devin White?
That's a good point. No, that's a good point.
We focusing on Nakobe because Nakobe was the dude last year. He got hurt. Now we need another starting linebacker. We signed Devin White, so automatically Devin White's the guy. He's got a chip on the shoulder coming from Tampa Bay. He's got a Super Bowl leader in the locker room. All of that type of stuff. He gave a press conference. Yeah, I'm gonna challenge Nakobe and all of that stuff. So he took on that moniker, but later in camp, Nakobe started making plays. Nakobe started making more plays. Okay, Nakobe is pretty good. Let's see if he can stay healthy. Now Nakobe and Devin White are running with the ones. They're the two.
Right.
Zach Bond slid down. He's coming in. Now we got rotations. Then Trot had a good game, but it was all Devin and Nakobe and everybody else.
That's true.
So there is a good possibility that we can be making more of it than it actually is. Maybe it is possible that it's a legit injury. He tweaked himself doing something simple. Listen, I'm a Bengals fan because I'm from Cincinnati. Look what happened to Joe Burrow. Doing everyday regular stuff. That happened. Injuries like that happen all the time. So it is possible that could have happened. And he said, you know what? I don't feel like making that trip. I'll stay home.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because it's an ankle injury, isn't that? And again, Isaiah Rodgers is a hand. Mm-hmm. It kind of felt like Devin White's injury was more so cut and dry, like, oh yeah, he can't play on this. Whereas though Isaiah Rodgers was more of like we'll see, like we'll fill him out through practice up there,
right.
And again, ankle versus hand, you go, your hand is your hand. You ain't got to worry about walking on that, right?
Right.
Your ankle, you walking through the airport, all the traveling, all the media stuff you might have to do, right? They probably looked at it as you're probably better served staying home, staying off your feet rather than being on your feet. Is that fair to say?
Right. Absolutely. And let's take all of the conspiracies and sources said out of the picture, and let's just think logically for a second. In Vic Fangio's defense, having a bum ankle is not really what you want to do if his linebackers are supposed to cover. So it might be just as simple as, hey, you don't want to get on the plane because you don't want the pressure of the plane to make it swell up and do crazy things, because that is a reality. So maybe they just played it uber safe. And I we as fans are just kind of getting a little overstimulated with the reasonings why, because it came out like out of the blue. And I think the biggest reactions were, for me at least, was everybody talking about, well, Nakobe had beat him in camp anyways. To me, that's the bigger question, more so than how he got hurt. I was like, where you get this information from? So maybe we're making more of it than it actually is, because if next week comes around and he's in the starting lineup, and it's him and Jacoby, we gonna seem like real silly right now talking about this. So it'll play itself out.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. You guys are tuned in to a hell of an Eagles pregame show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and yours truly, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Make sure you guys stay locked in. Smash that like button on both channels. Make sure you guys please go subscribe to my man, Coach Markus at Pro Fan Talk. Does amazing work, as you guys can already tell. I want to keep this thing going, right, when it comes to the injury report. We briefly touched on Isaiah Rodgers, the hand. He's out. There's only two scenarios in this thing for me. A, Quinyon Mitchell plays exclusively on the outside for the entirety of the game. Or B, Quinyon plays outside in base formation, which was the original plan. He plays outside in base formation. Isaiah Rodgers plays outside on the nickel, and Quinyon shifts to the nickel, right? Or shifts to the slot. So yeah, scenario A, Quinyon Mitchell plays exclusively on the outside all night. Or scenario B, he plays on the outside in base formation. Whenever they go to the nickel, he shifts over to the slot, and then Keely Ringo comes out and plays on the outside. What's your thoughts on that? How do you think they move forward, knowing Isaiah Rodgers is out in this game?
I think the key in that scenario is Keely Ringo. How confident are they in Keely Ringo? Keely Ringo had a good camp. And when Keely Ringo got his snaps last year, it paid dividends.
He was
it showed that he was ready for this level. So Keely Ringo's not sitting around waiting for somebody to take his spot. So I would think, I hope that I hope they move him around. They're probably going to have some type of rotation. And also it depends on what kind of game plan they got. If they are going to go nickel, when and how often, depending on what packages they see. But I think it'll be interesting to see at the end of this game, when we look up the stat sheet, who had more snaps.
Yes, it will. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of big nickel tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw three safeties on the field, which can kind of curve that weakness in the run game that the nickel, puts you in, right? When you're in the nickel, you got that extra deep, you got that one less linebacker, that extra corner on the field, and your run game could suffer, right? But if you go big nickel, then you replace that linebacker with a safety. Someone who's a little bit better in run fits than your standard corner, right? Do you think with this Isaiah Rodgers injury that leaves space for guys like Cooper DeJean and Devontae Maddox to get on the field?
Absolutely. Because that's the fail-safe. And let's be real. That's why we got all these damn cornerbacks in the first place. For this reason right here. So and we couldn't do this last year, but everybody you name, everybody in our secondary, I got pretty good confidence they can play. Blankenship, Cooper DeJean is still a little raw. That steak ain't quite. He's not quite even rare yet.
Yeah, not quite there. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, so he needs some more seasoning, but you got to let him play. So Maddox, Ringo, who else? Ricks is still here, right?
Yes, Ricks. Tristan McCullum's still here. Yeah, it's so funny, right? All the things they tried to hedge against from last season, it's already showing the value in week one. They brought in, they had 6 linebackers on the roster. We were like, why 6? Now you see why, right? They had 11 DBs if you include the James Bradbury injury. All of a sudden, they suffering two injuries at DB, Bradbury and Isaiah Rodgers. So already having that depth is showing its value. Harry Roseman, the foresight is tremendous.
Yeah, and heck, we still got to get through the game. We still got to get through a clean game because you got to stay healthy, man. We can't. That worries me all the time. We got to be able to get through a clean game, no major injuries, no torn knees, nobody getting carted off. We really need a healthy start to get to this first quarter of the season, and that's gonna really come into play whether we do or don't going into the middle of the season. I mean, it happens like that for everybody, but based on our history, we really need to stay healthy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Let's stay on the defensive side of the ball, preparing for this game, right? Let's stay on the defensive side for the Eagles, which will allow us to get into the offensive side for the Packers. Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Musgrave at tight end. They got Tucker Kraft at tight end. They have guys who are talented. The scheme, they know how to operate in that scheme. They know how to get open in that scheme. The scheme knows how to get those guys open. They've been reliable for Jordan Love, especially over the past 9 games of the season. Granted, in 2023, no 1,000-yard receivers, but they had 7 pass catchers, average at minimum 10 yards of reception. So those guys know how to get open. They know how to get open, especially in the intermediate. So when you think about this Packers skill position groups, right? Again, you throw in Josh Jacobs in there too. It's so easy to forget about him, but you got to remember he's on that roster now. Josh Jacobs, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, all those guys, the two tight ends. When you think about the way their offense is constructed from a skill position perspective, and you think about the way the Eagles constructed, you think about the way the Eagles are constructed, right? How much of a chance do you see the Philadelphia Eagles standing in this game? I mean, again, those guys, they're fast, they're quick, they're shifty, they know how to get open. But like you said, the Eagles, they're more talented this year. It's just a matter of proving it, right?
Right. I think out of all the guys you mentioned, I'm looking at Josh Jacobs and I'm looking at Christian Watson. And of course, Jordan Love. Take the quarterback out of the situation.
Yes.
Who else do you need to game plan? Now you get use us as an example. You have to game plan Devontae Smith. You have to game plan AJ Brown. You have to game plan Jalen Hurts, and you have to game plan Saquon Barkley. Do I have to? Josh Jacobs, I'll give him that. Christian Watson or Dobbs, you take your pick. You don't need to game plan both of them. Who's gonna be the guy? If you were to pick a name right now, who would be the guy that you said that guy can beat you?
I think Christian Watson is the most lethal out of all of them because of the size and the speed.
Agreed. So take Christian Watson. That's who you game plan. So that means you leaving it up to Romeo Doubs and Josh Jacobs. Do they throw out the backfield a lot? Now the ball's kind of back on our defense's court. Can they handle Josh Jacobs? Our defense has done a pretty good job, at least in the past when we were still dealing with Gannon. With our run defense, it was bend but don't break at times, but also at times we had a really good run defense. I remember what we did. I can't remember if it was last year or the Super Bowl year when we held Derrick Henry to like 20 yards rushing.
That was 2022.
Was that the Super Bowl year? Yeah.
2022. Yep. Yeah. We smacked the Titans. That was the AJ Brown revenge game.
Right. But so we need to be able to handle that. And it's a question mark because we don't know what our defensive line can do. We hoping Jalen Carter's going to take off. We hoping Jordan Davis is going to take off. But, it's hard doing these shows in week 1 because we haven't seen nothing.
Right. And it's funny. It's hard doing these shows in week 1 because you're trying your hardest not to rely on last year because it's almost irrelevant. But at the same time, it still has some kind of relevance because it's all you really can hang your hat on at this present moment. That's why I can't wait until we get past this game so I can actually really start to dissect who they've shown themselves to be up to this point. And then we can start to project long form.
Are we going to be having a conversation like, damn, like Nolan Smith didn't get no pressures, didn't get close to the quarterback, and he only had 1 tackle on a day? Like, really? Like, are we going to be having those conversations? Or is it going to be the opposite? Man, Bryce Huff got busy. Nolan Smith, that's what I wanted to see from him. Like, are those the conversations? Jordan Davis, finally, he was, he played 50 snaps today. So we can at least begin to start answering those questions. And from game 1, you will be able to see some things and you will say, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. Or that's what I've been waiting on. So that's the type of stuff that I'm looking for. And that's the type of stuff I'm excited because now Kellen Moore, I want to see how many times you're going to throw to Saquon out the backfield. If he can get damn near 100 yards with the New York Giants, he damn sure better get it with us. He better get the ball. He better get 15 touches. If you want to throw to him 5 times and hand it off 10, I don't care. But that ball better touch his hands at least 15 times this game. I don't want to see Jalen running the RPOs. Although, I don't know if I hit you up on the post I did last night watching the game. I loved how Baltimore ran the RPO, but they waited till after Derrick Henry had at least 2 or 3 carries.
Yes. And you know what's so funny about that game? I'm so glad you said that. Mahomes, both of those quarterbacks was doing RPOs last night.
Yes.
Both of those quarterbacks was doing RPOs last night. But because the back of their jersey don't say Hurts, no one pays it any mind. But those quarterbacks were doing RPOs last night. A lot of those quick slants to Rashid Rice that I was talking about last night, they were RPOs. You know what I'm saying? So I just want people to have a more fair, and again, now I'm starting to kind of veer off a little bit, but people got to have a much more fair assessment of how they look at Jalen Hurts and how he plays his game, because all these quarterbacks are doing RPOs. The first play of the game for the Chiefs was an RPO, quick slant to Rashid Rice.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
It's not, here's my thing, because they changed the narrative on that. They changed the narrative quick. Because when we went to the Super Bowl, everybody's like, all of a sudden, it became a problem because we had a quarterback on the team with weapons on both sides of him. And I was like, well, when did this become a problem? Oh, all he got to do is throw the ball up and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith can go get it. Okay, what's the problem here?
Right.
Everybody would love to have that problem.
Hey, Kirk Cousins, all he had to do was throw the ball up to Justin Jefferson. He'll go get it. Hey, Devontae, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he's talented. We know that. But Aaron Rodgers, just throw it to Devontae. He'll get it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, people pick and choose who they want to carve out these narratives about. And then Jalen Hurts is just the easy target for a lot of people. And I really think it's because he runs so much. People have not even just that. They already made their mind up about that young man.
Yeah.
It made their mind up about him. And now that he is where he is, part of him can't really accept it. So whenever he has any slippage in his game, like last year, because I crunched the numbers from last year and the year before that, Jalen Hurts had damn near an identical season. Actually, technically more productive last year. The only difference was the turnovers. That's it. And he had more turnovers last year than he did in his entire career combined prior to that. Yeah. So that tells me that's not the trend. The turnovers aren't the trend, but they talk about Jalen Hurts as if the turnovers are a trend. They don't talk about his production like that's the trend, because he's giving you 2 straight years of over 4,400 or over 4,300 total yards of offense. He's giving you back-to-back seasons of 35-plus touchdowns, be it if it's in the air or on the ground. He's made it to the playoffs 3 years in a row, made it to a Super Bowl, 2-time Pro Bowler, a second-team All-Pro, Burt Bell Award winner. I'm trying to understand why this brother gets discussed as if he's, I don't know, only had 9 good games.
Because it's us. Because it's Philly. And let's not forget to throw in there, he made it to the Super Bowl and outplayed Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's a shame he lost the game, though.
Exactly. We lost that game because of defense and special teams. They got that damn punt return, and that killed us. Because I believe that was the go-ahead touchdown.
It was.
But they don't, for whatever reason, if you are a running quarterback, they did the same thing with Lamar. If you are a running quarterback, they always doubt you. You can never make it to the promised land. You'll never win this championship like that. It's always been like that. I don't care how we win. If we run 17 times, now I can get upset about some things. Prime example is, I always remember that game in Chicago when it was 17 degrees and they ran him 17 times. And that's when he got hurt. Didn't have to do that. So I don't care how we win. If it's with RPOs, if it's with A.J. Brown, if it's with Saquon. I don't care if Saquon carries the ball 27 times and A.J. Brown only gets 1 reception. If that's what it takes to win, so be it.
Exactly. Different games take on a different identity and a different complexion, right? Different games call for different circumstances. Like, for example, in 2022, when the Philadelphia Eagles faced off against the Green Bay Packers before, they didn't really have to pass that ball that much. As a matter of fact, to be quite technical, they didn't really have to pass the ball at all because they hung up 350 rushing yards on them.
Right.
When somebody put 350 rushing yards on your head top, what you need to pass the ball for? You can't stop me on the ground. Why would I put the ball in harm's way when I don't need to? You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And Jalen still had 2 passing touchdowns. AJ Brown still had a touchdown. Even Quez Watkins had a touchdown. Again, when somebody put 350 rushing yards on your head top, why would they ever pass the ball against you? But then there's a narrative that people will say, "Oh, the Packers DBs locked up AJ Brown and Devontae Smith." It's like, no, the game plan led us to running the ball for 350 yards on y'all. 350 yards. Just saying. So
they love them stats. They love them stats because one of the first things everybody's going to do, they're going to look at the difference between good quarterbacks, elite quarterbacks. They looking at that 4,000 yard threshold. If you're a quarterback and you throw for more than 4,000 yards, you had a good year at throwing the ball around. Because you can look at Mahomes and you can look at Josh Allen and everybody that they consider elite level quarterbacks for whatever reason. People still consider Josh Allen an elite level quarterback. Why? He ain't never won anything. He got his coach fired. But they still calling him an elite level quarterback. I'm like, come on, they didn't go and practice all them interceptions and fumbles he was throwing. He got his coach fired. But they back to that narrative issue. They stuck on that issue. I want the 6'5" guy that got the cannon arm and that can throw for 4,500 yards a year. Even though that dude might not ever sniff the playoffs or sniff a conference championship. So I'll take it the way we get it. Period. You the chef. You make it the way you make it. If it's running the ball, then let's run the ball. If we come up against a team, to your point, and we can bust them for 350 on the ground, then I don't expect AJ Brown and Devontae to have 8 and 9 receptions apiece. That just doesn't make sense. And the problem is, in the past, it looks like we try to do that. We try to play to the crowd and throw the ball all over the field when we got the best running back in the league and we just don't give them the ball. I don't understand that. And hopefully, Kellen Moore recognizes that and they say, hey, if we gutting them up the middle on the run, keep handing it off to
just keep handing it off. I'm with you on that 100%, right? I feel like there are times where you see people outsmart themselves in real time, and you just say to yourself, bro, just keep doing what's working right now. They're not stopping it, clearly. Just do it, right? And I think more than anything, and I gotta give credit to my man Louis DiBiase from Locked On Eagles. He said, when it comes to bringing in Kellen Moore, it's not necessarily him flipping the offense on its head per se, right? And I'm paraphrasing, but what stood out to me about what he said was, he said, when you bring in Kellen Moore, it's not really about just overhauling the offense. It's more so about overhauling the philosophy. That was the problem we had last season, the philosophy, right? How we handle certain situations, right? You're missing AJ Brown, but you still feel the need to throw the ball 35, 40 plus times in a playoff game. You're missing AJ Brown, yet you still got one of the best offensive lines and you're running back coming off of a 1,000-yard season. You don't run the ball. You don't. So the Eagles needed an overall philosophy overhaul, and just how they were making decisions in game from a coaching perspective. You were throwing bubble screens at 3rd and 20. Like what are we doing? Like you see, so it was just, I think, and again, I want to give credit to Louis DiBiase from Locked On Eagles. He said that earlier today on his show, Locked On Eagles. And it really stood out to me. What's your thoughts when you hear that? Like the Eagles needed more so a philosophy overhaul rather than a playbook overhaul.
I would say it's possible, but again, we're gonna see once we get to week 3 or 4, and we can see what Kellen Moore is comfortable with. because we're going to start to see tendencies, just like we saw that damn bubble screen umpteen times for the past 2-3 years. We're going to see what he's comfortable with the players that he's got. That's what I'm interested in. So those questions will be answered.
That's a good point. Week 1, you're going to see, because even in week 1 with the Ravens and the Chiefs, they didn't really push the ball down the field that much. You saw them kind of just doing what to me, it looked like both teams were doing what made them feel comfortable. Now, obviously, the Ravens had to switch because the offensive line wasn't blocking well enough. But it seemed like Mahomes and the Chiefs, they just took what took what the defense gave them. They were just feeling their way through the game. And you said something along the lines of, we're going to find out pretty early what they're comfortable with. That's a very good perspective, right? In week 1, pretty early in the season, what you're going to see from these teams is what they feel the most comfortable with. Correct. And then you're going to start to see the offenses develop and really grow wings, right?
Because the flip side of that is, if they're comfortable with it, that means they ran it successfully. So that means somebody got their block and you getting 4 to 5 yards of carry. Because at one point last night in the game, didn't Baltimore, weren't they averaging like throwing the ball downfield 1 yard at a crack or something like that?
Yeah, there was
short passes.
It was a 1 yard. There was a point in the game where every throw Lamar Jackson made only had a 1 yard depth of target, basically meaning he's barely throwing past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and it's like, and even I thought, like, okay, eventually y'all gonna have to go down the field, but if that's what's working for you, work it. Because I know Flowers he almost broke a couple of them.
Yeah.
And he was having a good game in the first half. They kind of caught up with him. In the second half, they made some adjustments, so he had to work a little bit more for that. But that first half, Flowers was gutting them through the middle. But just like, think of last year. Towards the end of the year, why they stopped running the slant to A.J. Brown? Why does A.J. Brown have the best 5-game series of games in history, and then we stopped throwing him the ball? That made absolutely no sense. So from that standpoint, to me, that's the coach, because Jalen Hurts ain't making up the game plan. Sirianni making up the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you stop doing what's work? And I'm old school. Run it till they stop it. If they can't stop it, damn it, you keep running it. You got plenty of plays, but if you got something that's going on and they just having problems with it, you ram it down their throat every chance you get. And for whatever reason, we don't do that. And it's like these coaches get in their own ego. It's like, no, I got too much sophisticated stuff I got to show off. It's like, you don't need all of that. You need plain and simple, eggs and toast, and run it down the field, man. Keep it simple.
Yeah, sometimes, like I said, these coaches get ahead of themselves and they just keep wanting. It seems like sometimes people want to prove how smart they are. They want to prove why they got the job. They want to prove why they got the money. They want to prove this. Listen, you got the money for a reason. Just keep doing what you're doing. You feel what I'm saying?
Prove to me you can get to the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into some of the keys to the game here. We've been live for about 45 minutes. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to stay engaged in the content. We appreciate all of you for being here and supporting the show. It means a lot to us. Like I said, me and Marcus, we're going to try to put these shows together for you guys on a week-to-week basis in preparation for every game. The goal is to be live streaming with you guys at least 3 to 4 hours before the game even starts, so you guys can have plenty of time to to digest this content and really get your feel right. So again, make sure you guys smash that like button on both channels. Make sure you are subscribed to both channels. Subscribe to Pro Fan Talk with Coach Marcus, and go subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. It means a lot to us, goes a long way. So let's get into these keys to the game. I have 3 for the offense and 3 for the defense. I'm sure you've already thought about what the Philadelphia Eagles need to do in order to get where they need to get. For me, on the offensive side, number 1, establish your running game early. Number 2, protect the football. And number 3, protect Hurts and prove you can beat the blitz. What's your thoughts when you hear those keys to the game? I think I lost my man Marcus. I think I lost you. Brother. Let me. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I think we ran into a little bit of a technical difficulty here, you guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring my man Marcus back up in a little bit. But yeah, you guys, for me, keys to the game: establish the running game early. Protect the football. Protect Hurts and prove you can beat the blitz. And the reality is, all these things I'm talking about are things that the Philadelphia Eagles failed to do in the previous season. They failed to establish the running game early enough in games on a consistent basis. They failed to protect the ball on more than one occasion. And they failed to protect Hurts and prove that, and he failed to prove that he can beat the blitz last year. Now, I think that was a combination of many factors. I think it was a combination of Jalen Hurts being a little too antsy and not trusting what he saw. I feel like it was a combination of Nick Sirianni not having his quarterback properly prepared. Same thing goes for Brian Johnson. And even through all those struggles, right? Because, I'm reading through some of your comments here, and some of you guys are saying Shane Steichen is proof that Jalen Hurts is a game manager and proof that he's overrated and all those kind of things of that nature. And a lot of you guys like to say you read the stats and do whatever it may be. Well, if you're reading the stats, you would see that Jalen Hurts statistically had the same. As Blunt, I got you. As Blunt, I got you. Right? It's a full show, brother. Be patient. I got you, as Blunt. Be patient, brother. I got you. But Jalen Hurts, back to him, he's a quarterback that had damn near the identical season from 2022 to 2023. The only difference is the turnovers. And that's not characteristic for Jalen Hurts. So I believe Jalen Hurts' turnovers are going to be an issue, or going to be a non-issue this year, rather. I think Jalen Hurts is trending in the right direction because I think he's actually being fed proper information, and he's also being given answers. He's being given answers. Give me 1 second, you guys. I think he's finally being given answers this year, and now he has full autonomy, full control over his offensive line and where they go and how they pick up the blitz. This is not me trying to make excuses for the man. I'm trying to be fair to him, and I would be fair to any quarterback if they were experiencing any sort of issues, be it with their coaching staff or whomever, right? But for Jalen Hurts to deliver the resume he's delivered over the past 3 seasons as the franchise quarterback, well, yeah, the past 3 seasons as the starter for the Eagles, for him to deliver the results that he delivered, and he still gets discussed the way he gets discussed. I firmly believe if Jalen Hurts, I don't want to go there. Let me not do that. I don't want to take it there, no matter how true I think it is. Let's just say I could think of other quarterbacks that if they put up the same resume as Jalen Hurts, they wouldn't get discussed in the way Jalen Hurts is actually discussed. I firmly believe that. Some people, have their perspective and they want to claim it's just about football. They want to claim that they're being fair-minded. But they're not. They're not. Because over the past 2 seasons, you know what Jalen Hurts has done? He's been productive. And he's been more productive than some of your favorite quarterbacks. Over the past 2 seasons, Jalen Hurts has been more productive than Lamar Jackson. He's been more productive than Joe Burrow. That's a fact. That's not me giving you my opinion. That's a fact. So let me bring back my man, Pro Fan Talk. We got everything sorted out, my man.
Yeah, it happens. I don't know what happened, man. I had my system locked up, and I had to shut it all the way down. I don't know what happened, man. I think OBS got jacked up.
No, you all good. You all good. So I wanted to get into the keys to the game with you, right? offensively and defensively. I want to start on the offensive side with you, though. And I'm sure you've already come up with your own keys to this game and what needs to happen, so on and so forth. But I want to run mine by you on the offensive side and then pick your brain to see if they align, if we differ, whatever it may be. So on offense, I think it's number one, it's imperative that they establish the running game early. You have Saquon Barkley now. You want to get that offensive line as confident as possible, and you want to get them all moving in the same direction as quickly as possible. I think the best way to do that, to settle those guys in, is to move forward instead of having them backpedal. That's just my humble opinion with that. Especially with the new guys like Becton, and then Cam Jurgens is now taking over at center. Even though we've seen him play center before in the 2022 preseason where he played every snap at center, he was very good at it and very athletic. We saw flashes. But now he's the full-time starter. You want to get those guys as confident as possible. You want to deliver the damage first, especially if you got the ball first, right? You want to deliver the punishment first. So I think you want to establish that running game early and often in this game. Number two, protect the football. Last year, Jalen Hurts and I have a good season protecting the football. Very uncharacteristic by him, if we're being completely honest and fair to ourselves. Jalen Hurts protected football. Everybody else protected football. Remember, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both fumbled in that Cowboys game on back-to-back drives, I believe. That can't happen. You know what I'm saying? Saquon Barkley, protect the ball. Dallas Goedert, protect the ball. So ball security is paramount, as is in every game. And then my third offensive key to the game, protect Hurts and prove you can beat the blitz. We know the narrative out there about Jalen Hurts and his team when it comes to the blitz. So give me your perspective on your offensive keys to the game. Do any of yours align with what I'm talking about? Do they differ? Or are you focused on other things?
No, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Number one, I want to see balance. I want to see Saquon Barkley have at least 12 rushes. I would like to see him have more touches, but at least 12 rushes. And I'm very curious as to see how they are going to run him. I am not a fan of running the ball out of gun formation. You need to be going downhill. Saquon Barkley is a downhill runner. That's where he does his most damage. Even last night, they was trying to put King Henry in a gun formation. They handed the ball. No. Get downhill. Let's get momentum. And you read that tackle's block and do what you do best. I hope we can see some play action, some true play action. And just I want to see a logical game plan and logical decisions. If it's second and one or third and one, get the ball to Saquon. Give the ball to Saquon.
I can live with the results. I can live with those results. But I won't live with you being in shotgun, dropping yourself 4 or 5 yards back away from the line of scrimmage and then running the ball.
Correct.
It's crazy to me.
Correct. And really, it's two things. I want to see balance in our attack, pass versus run, and I want to see us pick up the blitz. That's it. You already know there's going to be a time in the game where it's going to be third and whatever, or it's going to be a blitzing situation. Check next gen stats and see how they send it, or whatever Amazon does. They're going to tell you when the blitz is coming. And somebody on the broadcast is going to say, well, you already know that Jalen Hurts struggled with this last year. That is coming. So I want to see how we are going to handle it. Are we going to block it? Do we have hot routes? What's the reaction to that? That's what I want to see. And it's got to be a favorable thing. That's just offense for me. Balance, get Saquon some touches, and pick up the blitz.
And it's interesting, right? When it comes to Jalen Hurts and the blitz, all he got to do is prove he can beat it a few times. Just prove just prove that every time they do it, they're gonna pay. From that point forward, that changes the whole playbook on how teams approach Jalen Hurts. Because apparently that's the book, right? Blitz Jalen Hurts and you got him. What happens when you can't blitz him no more? What you gonna do?
Exactly.
What you gonna do if you can't blitz him now? And that's the part that people are not accounting for. They think that this man is gonna be the same player he was last year. They're quite frankly testing his mettle. And they think he's not willing to go into the lab and change the narrative. This is not somebody who's just gonna lay down and die. Somebody who's just gonna allow the narrative to consume him. Jalen Hurts is somebody who truly, truly irons out the wrinkles to his game. If you can sit here and tell me Jalen Hurts is the same quarterback today as he was in 2021, you're not watching football. To see what he was and what he's turned into, oh my God, who would have?
He evolves.
This is why these evaluators hate Jalen Hurts so much because one thing I learned, man, once these evaluators and these scouts make their decisions, they hate being proven wrong.
Yep.
They hate it with a passion. Instead of just saying, hey, damn, he exceeded my expectations. You know what I mean? So yeah, all Jalen Hurts has to do is just prove that he can beat it a few times in this game. Just prove that and make them pay. Yeah. That has to be that. That's what we have to see. If they blitz, attack them where the blitz is coming from.
Right, and it doesn't even have to be it's weird when you have stuff like that because when you watch blitz pick up on film, what happens when it's an incomplete pass? The question is, was the guy open? Could it have been a big play? Could it have been a splash play if the guy would have caught the ball or the quarterback would have threw, a little bit to the left or something like that? Does the potential exist that they can score off a blitz? And if that potential exists, they're not going to blitz because eventually they're going to get burned.
Facts. Let's get into the defensive keys to the game now.
Yes.
For me, number one, stop the run. The Packers, their offense is really predicated on that play action. We saw that in that playoff game against the Cowboys. They really rely on it heavily. They use a lot of, they're in a lot of 12 personnel. You'll see them in power formations. Then all of a sudden they beat you over the top with Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson or Jaden Reed. You got to watch them. You have to keep if you can stop the run early and discourage them from continuing with it, or discourage them from committing to it, rather, right? If you can discourage them from committing to it and keep them in second and long, because that's how you discourage a team, right? They're constantly facing the second. You play running back, so you can tell me if I'm off. If you're a running back and every time you get that ball on first down, you only getting a yard there, 2 yards there. It's only a matter of time before the coach says, "Okay, we're changing this up a little bit." Am I off on that?
No, but he also got to look at prime example. Look at freaking Saquon Barkley and what he did with the Giants. Tackle for loss, no gain. Tackle for loss, no gain. Tackle for loss. Bam, 46 yards.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very true. It depends on who you're talking about, and it depends on what the situation is. So it's going to be really go back to what you were leading on earlier with the offensive line. How good is their center? Because Jalen Carter is in your grill. We're gonna find out soon. So my keys to the defense is very simple. I need them to tackle. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about schemes. I don't care about how many sacks we may or may not get. I don't care about none of that. I want to see our guys get them to the ground because last year was god awful.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. My second key to the game was establishing the pressure, right? Yeah. Speed up. You got to speed up Love's clock. Whatever clock he has in his head, speed it up and keep him off balance. Yeah. That because he's a tall dude. He's athletic. He's going to find the sight lines. He's going to find the open guy if you give him time. And those guys, those receivers with that speed, you give them enough time, they're going to get open. Somebody will get open. So stop the run, establish the pressure, and speed up Love's clock. And then third and finally, linebackers must remain disciplined. Do not fall for the play action. Y'all got to stay disciplined, fill in your run gaps, be where you're supposed to be. And my honorable mention, you said it, tackle, man. Tackle. There was some let me ask you this. How did you feel about the tackling last night?
It was adequate.
Same, I agree. I didn't see anybody breaking too many things. I mean, obviously Xavier Worthy had his moments, right? But for the most part, it seemed like the tackling was pretty solid last night, for first game.
Last year, our first couple of games, literally, I was watching the game like, are you serious? Like, I must have said that phrase 5, 6, 7 times during like, really? Like, stuff like that. And I didn't see that last night. So I just want our defense to tackle like they are professionals. Last year, we did not do that at all. And it was embarrassing.
I got 3 final questions for you that we can wrap this up, my brother. How'd that sound?
Let's do it.
If the Eagles win this game, it's going to be because of what?
If the Eagles win this game, it's because our offensive line established the line of scrimmage.
If the Eagles lose this game, it's going to be because of what?
Because our defense can't cover.
And final question, man. What's your score prediction? Give me all your predictions for this game. Do you got any bold predictions, any hot takes stat-wise? Do you have it? What's your overall score prediction for this game in general?
My score prediction is Eagles win 24-17.
24-17?
Man, how they get there is of no consequence to me. As long as it's too much to not enough.
24-17? I got the Eagles winning 31-23. Okay. 31-23. Not a 7-point victory, 8-point. You know, something happens somewhere. I think they score. I think the Eagles drop a 30 ball tonight. 30. Okay. I think the Eagles win 31-23. It's going to be competitive throughout the game, but there's going to be a moment. It's going to be a mistake somewhere, which is going to give the Eagles that much breathing room, and then the score is going to end up being what it's being. So, 31-23, 31-23, and yours is 27. I'm sorry, 24-17, 24-17. Okay, all right, that sounds good, man. Listen, it's gonna be a fun game. Bottom line, Marcus, it's gonna be a fun game. Last night was fun. It felt so good watching real football that mattered, right?
Football, man.
It felt great just seeing all those guys out there that's flying around.
No more joint practices.
No more joint practices. For the most part, everybody made it out of the game healthy. I know Kyle Van Noy had a little bit of a concussion or eye injury, whatever it may be, but for the most part, everybody made it out of that game healthy. Yeah, which is I'm happy about that. It was competitive. It came down to the wire. I was pulling for an overtime. I'll be honest, and you know the NFL was, but yeah, man, it's going to be great. It's going to be great, man. Brazil, we're here.
Can't wait. I saw Simone flashing her outfits. That was funny.
Simone outside. Shout out to Simone. She outside.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the post I put with my buddy Frank. He hit me up. He's one of the cameramen for NFL Films down there. So me and him had a conversation and I recorded it and posted it. Looked like they got everything ready. So it's time. The wait is over.
The wait is over. The wait is over. Marcus, you know it's always fun when we kick it, man.
Yes, sir.
It's always fun. I love your insight. I love your perspective. The chemistry is always electric. Any final words before we get out of here? Anything you want to promote? Tell the people where to find you, content-wise, all of that.
Yeah, you can find me right here on Pro Fan Talk. Right now, it's hot and heavy with the WNBA, and now the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock. So I'm gonna be doing double duty, man. It's either gonna be Caitlin Clark or Jalen Hurts. So pick your poison. So it's been I've been very busy, man, and the content is growing. Just hit 4,000 subs. So
congratulations, brother. Congratulations.
Moving and shaking. I'm moving on up like the Jeffersons, bro.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Like my man said, please go subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. He's doing amazing work covering not just the NFL, not just your Philadelphia Eagles, but he's giving you full WNBA coverage. He's live streaming, doing play-by-plays, watching the games and giving his instant reactions. He's giving you guys so much content. I mean, he just has so much. He has so much content for you guys to really get into, and overall, just gives a unique perspective to this content creation game because he played the game before. Eagles alumni can't ask for a better relationship in this content game than the one I had with Coach Markus. So I really do appreciate him. Once again, make sure you guys please go subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. The good brother just passed 4,000 subs. Come on, man. When you know good content when you see it, you know good content when you hear it. And as you guys already know, Coach Markus is giving you all that good. You feel me? So, Coach, you already know what's love with me and you. We out of here, man. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channels. Go check my man out at Pro Fan Talk. And make sure you guys lock in with me, your boy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Fly Eagles fly, y'all. We out.